All right, everybody, welcome to the 435 Politics Show on the Scott Show Network. This is Scott here, and we are talking about healthcare today. I wanted to talk about the Graham-Cassidy bill a little bit, and just kind of everything having to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act. Long story short, I'm very kind of split on the Affordable Care Act. I think that it's done a lot of great things, but it has done a lot of crap too. The Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, for people who don't really follow a lot of politics. If you don't follow a lot of politics, welcome to the show. This show, 435, is what we do. We talk politics a lot here on the show. We will have some special guests coming up here in the future weeks. But for right now, you just got me. We're talking Graham Cassidy. So I want you guys to know who Graham and Cassidy are. I think that that's important. You'll hear bills all the time, and it's just important that you know who the hell we're talking about. So first of all, we're talking about Lindsey Graham. He's a senator from South Carolina. He's been in there since 2002, 2003. He took over for Strom Thurmond, who was there forever, and when Strom Thurmond retired, Lindsey Graham took his spot, 2003. Before that, Lindsey Graham was in the U.S. House of Representatives, and is Republican, friends and not friends with John McCain. They get along, and also he was very telling on the whole Trump situation. He said, I'm not going to support him until he gets the nomination, until all the people have voted. And when the people voted, he begrudgingly supported him, but has had his issues with our current President 45, Mr. Donald J. Trump. So there you go, folks. That is a little bit on Lindsey Graham. On the other gentleman, Bill Cassidy is a senator from the great state of Louisiana. All of the states are great. I ain't gonna lie, all the states are great. But Bill Cassidy, he is a physician. He is also a politician, the senior member from the state of Louisiana. He was a U.S. representative from 2009 to 2015, and then in 2015 became a senator, defeating, and I had it just a few minutes here, defeating Mary Landrieu, who was the senator from Louisiana. So there you go, folks. That is just a little bit on who Bill Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. I'm kidding. Bill Cassidy and Lindsey Graham are. These two people introduced legislation to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act. The Graham-Cassidy bill. Now, here's a little bit, and this is also from Wikipedia and NPR, so I'm going to give them all the credit in the world. The Graham-Cassidy bill would eliminate the Affordable Care Act's marketplace subsidies, repeal the Medicaid expansion, and reduce a temporary block grant that would expire in 2016. So that was just a little bit. It did get endorsed by Donald Trump. It, however, did not meet the Jimmy Kimmel test, as it would allow states to eliminate requirements to cover children with conditions like that of Jimmy Kimmel's child. If you remember, he talked about different things that had happened with his child. So Jimmy Kimmel is one of those people who talk a lot about healthcare. He did condemn Bill Cassidy, called him a liar. So there you go. Cassidy responded to Jimmy Kimmel, and this is kind of an interesting little thing, saying that he did not understand the legislation. I think that if you don't, I heard this once before, that if you don't, if you cannot sell it in an elevator, then it ain't worth it. And here's how I sell healthcare in an elevator: affordable healthcare, preventive healthcare that isn't going to break the bank, and you know what? Maybe like just universal healthcare. Why not? Now, I am not a fan of Bernie Sanders by any stretch of the imagination, but I do support affordable healthcare. So going to the NPR article, I did want to just talk a little bit about this. Like I said, I want you guys to understand what this is, and then we can debate it all day long here. Snapchat, is one of those things that people have been going a little crazy talking about. Both sides, Republicans, Democrats, are either repeal and replace, support Graham Cassidy, or don't support these guys. When you're fighting against something, you're always going to fight a little bit stronger. So pre-existing conditions, that's one of the big issues that's going to be out. Before the Affordable Care Act, insurers could deny coverage to people if they had pre-existing conditions, and they're just going to let states waive that requirement if they want to. Medicaid, now this insurance program provides health care for 20% of all Americans. 20% of all Americans. That's like 60 million people. Just want to give you a little insight. 60 million people. There's 300 million people in this country. Quick math. There you go. Alright, including 40% of all children, half of all births, 60% of nursing home expenses, and 25% of mental health care. Now, this would transform the structure, giving states the control on how they spend the federal funds. It would also cut Medicaid funding, and that would be terrible. Some of these places are just going to be running out of money and spending it on stuff they don't need to. Essential health benefits. The Affordable Care Act requires that insurers cover 10 essential benefits: maternity care, mental health, hospitalization, prescription drugs, emergency care, and children's health. Those are 6, but there's a few more. And again, the GOP, the Republicans, and the Graham Cassidy bill would let states opt out of these requirements. So there is that. There's a lot of different things. Now, one thing that wouldn't change is people under 26 would be able to stay under the parents' plan still, according to all of the different changes for repeal and replace. Adults under 65, now this does repeal major provisions under that. Turns it into block grants, which I said would expire in 2026. This would be very terrible for our seniors, which I don't get. I don't get why we don't want to take care of our seniors. I don't understand. Skilled nursing health care would be covered, or skilled nursing care covered under Medicare up to 100 days per illness. Right now it is there, but Medicaid services and payments to nursing homes would be cut, as states would see a decline in funding. So I don't know how that's going to work. There's no guarantee on coverage of people with pre-existing conditions. We already covered that. Planned Parenthood. A 1-year block would be placed on federal reimbursements for care provided by Planned Parenthood. Again, I'm not. I have my own issues based on Planned Parenthood and how they have how everything is kind of screwed up with that. I don't totally understand it. At the same time, it's not my game to understand. Because I'm not elected. If I was elected, I would probably have some words and say more things about it. But I'm not. I'm not elected. So if anybody ever wants to hear my stories on Planned Parenthood, by all means, give me a heads up. So the bill would get rid of Medicaid expansion money by 2026 and convert all of the spending to a per capita cap. Federal money per person would be lower than it is, and that's for people with disabilities. Mental health issues at the same thing. This bill looks like it's going to die. I'm not going to say right now if it is or not going to not be there, and so us just talking about it is kind of silly. Is it silly? I don't know. I think that people should know what they're talking about in Congress to deal with all these different things. And I do want to say, and there is some things on here right now. It is actually called the Graham Cassidy Heller Johnson Senate Amendment to the American Health Care Act of 2017. There is people who are supporting it. Ted Cruz, Chuck Grassley, Pat Roberts, and Jim Inhofe are supporting it. John McCain already says no, so we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes there. Now, what I'd like to see in closing of this thing, and we're, like I said, we're on the 435 Politics channel. In closing to this thing, what I'd like to see is something that takes care of everybody. I think that Washington is making healthcare too much of an issue. I think that we can instead go back to the drawing board and get some ideas on just how to make it perfect in our own little way. So let's hope, folks, that we get affordable health care for everyone, that they can get those pre-existing conditions taken care of, get the meds that they need, and their meds ain't going to cost $7,000 per pill. So, folks, I'm gonna head out here. We are going to be done with this conversation on the Graham Cassidy bill. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, hit me up on YouTube at tinyurl.com/102550. That is our YouTube site. And I'll be glad to report if you guys hear a commercial, we are making money. That is how we do it here on the Scott Show with the Wake Up Call. In the morning, every morning, we have our 102550 show on Wednesday and Sunday. We'll be doing one of those today, as today is Sunday the 24th. And folks, I'm just super excited, pumped up, and ready to rock and roll, because we are making it happen here on the Scott Show. I thank you guys very much. We are at 11,000 hits all over our channels. So we're really pumped up. So, folks, for everyone here at the Scott Show, and there are more people involved than just me, for everyone listening, I thank you guys so very much, and we'll check out you guys real soon. I'll be playing a little bit of go-home music for you, just a few 9 seconds of go-home music, and we'll catch you guys real soon.